The Hobbit is my favorite piece of literature in the world. And there has been a nice little Chobani Greek yogurt container size amount of adaptations of The Hobbit, including the most well-known Peter Jackson trilogy, a play.
Now you go in and fix that tea!
A Leonard Nimoy song. I don't know how to say it. Leonard Nimoy? Nimoy? He's the actor that plays Spock. Do you know how to say his name?
Nope.
No. Okay, Leonard Nimoy song. And the interesting animated film released in 1977. Because of their connection to the source material, I treasure all of these existing adaptations in some high regard, except for you, animated movie released in 1977. I'm sorry, but you low-key scare me. But the adaptation that I hold in the utmost high regard is the Inevitable Entertainment 2003 video game developed by Sierra. This is one of the most obscure adaptations, and I wouldn't be surprised if you've never even heard of it. But as a child who grew up in a household that didn't allow any kind of Xbox, PlayStation, or Nintendo gaming consoles, this, as well as a few other computer games, was all I had in regards to video games growing up. And even as an adult who finds most video games kind of boring, I still think of this game as one of the coolest and most fun things ever. And now, more than ever, I'm able to appreciate how wonderfully it adapts my favorite work of fiction in the world. So why is it that this adaptation works so well, and these not so much, in my opinion? This is all my opinion, by the way.
No, it's fact.
It is, never mind, this is fact. Okay, well, let's start with what makes a good adaptation in the first place. The most basic definition of adapt is to make something suitable for a new purpose, to modify or alter. All of these adaptations succeed in some merit because, Lord knows, they make changes from the source material. And that's not a bad thing. It's necessary to make changes to adapt something. It's literally right there in the definition. The issue comes into play in the new use or purpose aspect of the definition. For example, in the Peter Jackson trilogy, they changed the original story by adding a prominent female elf character. And for some reason, a lot of people got really upset by this, simply because it's not the same as the original. I don't have a problem with the addition of this character at all. The 2003 game adds a prominent female elf character as well. My problem with this is, what does this do to make the source material more suitable for a new use or purpose? And then I'm going to insert that one line where Tilly's like, I could have anything down my trousers, and she's like,
or nothing.
Why is this here? But what about the female elf in the game? What does she add? Well, she gives a quest to Bilbo to save her life by fighting this huge thingy to get a potion to heal her wounds. Then later, when Bilbo is sneaking through Mirkwood, she reappears and repays the favor by not turning him into the other elves. None of these events are things that happen in the book, but they provide more interesting gameplay, which makes the story more suitable for its new purpose. Anything that the game changes is changed to make the story more suitable for its new purpose as a video game. It brings a new life to the story that you wouldn't be able to experience just by reading it. At the same time, it pays a ridiculous amount of attention to details in the books. Things like the fact that you eat mushrooms for health are so fun. Even the freaking colors of the dwarfs' cloaks are kept the same to avoid changing anything more than necessary. Okay, now, in defense of the movie adaptations, The Hobbit as a story really just works better as a game than a movie. The book is laid out in a way that each chapter is just its own little adventure or story. It's almost just like different levels on a video game. See the connection? It fits so perfectly. Almost every level is named after a different chapter from the book. And while the events and such have been changed to make it more suitable for gameplay, the end goals and overarching story are all exactly the same. Movies have to change the structure of this book around so much to even make it work in the allotted amount of time. Way too much happens in the book to be squeezed into just 90 minutes, but not nearly enough happens to justify a whole trilogy of 3-hour-long films. And in addition to recognizing that The Hobbit would be well enhanced by something like a video game adaptation instead of just another weird animated movie, the creators also really had to do their research. Unlike most video games set in Middle-earth, this one is based almost solely on the source material. Most of the other ones I've played are just adaptations of the movies, and the Hobbit movies were not even going to be released for almost another 10 years at the time that this game was made. So the game had to come up with original designs and settings taken from the book, which is more preferable to me than running around as a hobbit with Martin Freeman's face on it. Now, this game was released in the same year as Return of the King, so it was obviously probably hoping to write off the success of that trilogy. And it did definitely take inspiration for the design of Gandalf and such from the movies, but almost everything else is original. And some of the explanations the game gives for things seem so complex and well thought out that they had to have been inspired by some kind of Tolkien lore somewhere, which is an accomplishment of its own, mind you. I watched this video interview between the creator of Lord of the Rings Online, and the amount of Tolkien history and lore that they have to sort through and understand just to make a game is mind-boggling.
Rudauer and Arthedain and figuring
it was fun trying
out.
to keep them straight when we were...
Winter came and they were eaten by wolves.
About the fall of Fornos and, sort of the betrayal of Amarthio. Lendil itself, the Eriador.
So yeah, I love this game, and I think of it as a perfect adaptation. I understand that this video isn't super analytical or long, but that's mostly because I could barely even find any information about the process of creating this game and adapting the story, because barely anyone even know that this game exists. I could go into why I just love this game and think it's extremely fun, but that doesn't necessarily equal explaining why it's a good adaptation. But this game is super fun, and if you have the opportunity to play it and you're a fan of The Hobbit, then yes, 100% I recommend it. Give it a 9.88888888 out of 10. Just because that gosh dang, Lord forgive me, bottle riddle in Lake Town is the dang hardest thing. In conclusion, this game serves as a perfect adaptation, in my opinion, because it doesn't seek to change or fix anything, to try and make it new and improved. It simply seeks to enhance the experience of the original story by presenting it in a new art form. Okay, and that's a wrap.
How long is it supposed to be?
I don't know. I was hoping that it would be more than just 3 minutes, so it would look like I was smarter than I actually was.